Today, we are diving into a super helpful tool for anyone looking to boost their website's performance, the Google Tag Manager. So in this tutorial, we'll guide you through the basics of setting up Google Tag Manager, how to add tags, triggers, and variables, and some of the best practices to get the most out of it. Let's go. Hey, it's Jack from RankMath, the one tool that empowers millions of WordPress sites with easy-to-use SEO and AI tools, and this channel is all about sharing the right SEO knowledge. So if you're new to us, consider subscribing. Anyway, let's start with this. Since this is a video for beginners, let's first talk about what is Google Tag Manager and what are the differences between Google Analytics and the Tag Manager. The best way to explain Google Tag Manager is to start with an example. We will first start with a website. It could be your business website or your client's website. And if you want to track some kind of information on your website, you will need tools like Google Analytics. Now, in order to get information from your website, you will have to add some codes provided by these tools to certain parts of your website. Once these codes are added to your website, Google Analytics 4 can get information like page views, scrolls, outbound clicks, site search, video engagement, file downloads, and form interactions. If you want basic tracking, Google Analytics already provides you with that information. However, if you want more advanced tracking, here's where the Google Tag Manager fits into the picture. For example, if you want to track the number of button clicks on a particular page, track the number of times a form is submitted, etc. With Google Tag Manager, you can create a tag specific to the buttons of a page, and when there is a click on the button, Google Tag Manager will collect that information and send it to Google Analytics, for example. So Google Tag Manager is simply a middleman that collects data and sends it to your analytics platform. Now, in the past, to track certain kinds of events, you will have to install custom tags or lines of codes to specific areas of your page. And if you had many events to track, you had to install many lines of codes to your site. And if you are a web developer, you know that the more lines of codes you have on a page, the slower the page loads. And if not done properly, these codes combined can crash your site. But with the introduction of Google Tag Manager, all you need to do to track whatever events or data, however many there are, is just to install one line of code, and that's all. That's the main benefit of using Google Tag Manager. It simplifies tracking. On top of that, Google Tag Manager allows you to easily add, modify, remove all tracking codes, and most importantly, allows you to troubleshoot and fix tag mistakes all in one location before the tags go live. So here's what we're going to do in the first part of the video. I will first share with you how to deploy a tag in Google Tag Manager, and to do that, we will first need to create an account and container, and then we will deploy the tag, and then test the tag to make sure that it is working properly. In the later part, I will share with you a couple of use cases. To create an account with Google Tag Manager, type in tagmanager.google.com on your browser. Now, it is recommended that you log in using a Google account that manages all your assets like Google Search Console, Analytics, etc. Now, every Google Tag Manager must have at least one account. So as you can see right now, we are starting with a clean slate. So let's create an account. Now, the account name can be anything, but it should be something that makes it easily identifiable. So if your business name is RankMath, you would add, for example, RankMath Tag Manager. But for our case, we are working on a demo site, and the name of the demo site is My Plugin Hub. So I will add that in, and then select the country where your business is residing. For me, it will be Singapore. And then check this if you want to share anonymous data with Google. This is optional, so we'll just leave it as it is. Next, we will set up the container. You don't necessarily need to add the domain name. This can be a word or multiple words, like blog, website, or whatever. But most of the time, people will create one container for one website. So if you're a business that runs many different websites, you will create one container for one website. In our case, we'll keep it simple. We will give this container the same name as our demo site, so My Plugin Hub. And since we are tracking web activity, we will select web. Now, depending on what you want to track, you can create a container for iOS apps, Android apps, accelerated mobile pages or AMP, and server-side tracking. But for this video, we will only be focusing on web. Let's click Create. You have to accept the terms of service to use Google Tag Manager, so click Yes at the top right, give it a while, And now you will have two sets of codes to add to your website. One is to be added to the head tag and the other is to be added to the body tag of every page of your site. If you don't know, almost every website on the internet starts with a head tag and then a body tag. So if we visit the test site, for example, right-click, view page source, you will see that after the HTML tag, it follows with a head tag. And then after the close of the head tag, it follows with the body tag. That's how most websites work. Now, the first code is essential for the Google Tag Manager to work. If you do not add this to your site, then Google Tag Manager will not work for you. But the second code here is optional. You don't necessarily need to add this code to your site, but let's just add them anyway. Let me share two methods to do so. Disclaimer: this is a tutorial for WordPress sites, so I will not go through methods related to other platforms. Let's start with the manual way. For most WordPress themes, to access the head tag of your site, you will have to hover to Appearance and click on Theme File Editor. And then on the right menu, you want to find header.php. Click on it, and right below, you can see that the site starts with HTML, following that the head tag. So what we want to do is to go back to Google Tag Manager. If for some reason you got lost and do not see these codes, let's say that you accidentally close the codes, you can either click on this, it will bring you back to the codes, or click on Admin and install Google Tag Manager. And here are the codes. So let's copy this set of codes by clicking on this. Go back to your header.php and right under the head tag, you want to add some space here. So you will hit return, and right below the head tag, you want to paste the Google Tag Manager codes. And for the second code, let's copy, go back to the theme file editor, scroll down, you'll see the body tag here, hit return to give it some space, and paste the codes here. Most importantly, you want to click on update file. Now let's test if the codes are installed correctly. Go back to the Tag Manager. I recommend not to use this feature to test for the codes as it may not be accurate. So let's go to Workspace. To test the codes, click on Preview. Then add your site's URL and click Connect. And it will open up another window and put your site in debug mode. If the codes are detected, you will see something like this. And on the Tag Manager, you will see that the Google tag is connected to your site. This means that Google Tag Manager is installed properly. That's the manual way to install Google Tag Manager on your site. But if you don't want to meddle with your site's codes, then the other way is to install a separate plugin. On your WordPress dashboard, hover over Plugins and click on Add New Plugin. On the search bar, let's search for GTM4 WP. And this is the plugin we want to install and activate. Once done, refresh the page, hover to Settings, and you will see Google Tag Manager here. Click on it, and right here you will need to add your Google Tag Manager ID. To find this ID, go back to your Tag Manager, and right here, this is your ID. Let's highlight it, copy, and paste it in the plugin settings, and then save changes. And that's it. If you use this method, remember to do the test like we have done with the previous method to see if the Google Tag Manager is installed correctly. Alright, now that you have installed the Google Tag Manager, it is important to understand the relationship between tags, triggers, and variables before creating any tags. So we are on a workspace of your Tag Manager, and this is the page you will visit often to create and manage all tags. You can create a new tag by clicking on this. I'll show you an example in a while. Or you can click on the Tags tab and click on the New button to create a new tag. And all tags you have created will be listed here under the Tags tab. Now I'm pretty sure you know what a tag is. It used to be a snippet of code added to specific parts of your website for tracking purposes, but with Google Tag Manager, you don't need to add those lines of codes onto your website. You can create, edit, and manage all tags in one place. And then you have triggers. Triggers are conditions where the tags will be activated. So let's say that you want to track the number of times a button is clicked. You will place a tag on the button, but the tag will not be activated just yet. It will only be triggered when it is clicked. And this trigger is set by you in the Tag Manager. So every tag you create will be accompanied with a trigger. And for variables, these are information that can be captured when a tag is active. There are more to this that you can capture. You can define your own variables, or you can use one of their built-in variables. So for example, if you have a form on your page, you can capture all these form elements when a tag is triggered. And the information captured with the variables can be sent off to other platforms like Google Analytics to analyze the data. I'm pretty sure after watching this video, you will have a clearer understanding of what variables are. So don't worry about that. Let's say that you have this lead magnet where people need to provide their information, and when they hit submit, they will be redirected to a thank you page. And let's say that you are running Google Ads to this lead capture page, and a successful lead is one who has completed the form and saw the thank you page. Those who have landed on this lead capture page and left are not considered a lead. So to track the conversion in this scenario, you want to add a tag on the thank you page so that when this page loads, the tag will be fired and a conversion will be captured. So what you want to do is on Google Ads, click on create and select conversion action. You want to start tracking conversions on a website, so you'll select that. Now this is for you to add your lead capture page URL, and Google Ads will scan it and suggest further steps. And then we want to add a conversion action manually. Our goal for this conversion action is to submit a lead form. Let's expand this. I don't want to add this goal to be the default. The primary action will be used for ad optimization, while the secondary action will not. And since lead capturing is our main goal, we want it to be the primary action so that the Google Ads will be optimized for this goal. Next, let's give this conversion action a name, say lead-free SEO lessons. You can check this out for more examples. It can be anything. It is just for you to easily identify your conversion action. And then the value. There are some guides here, and since this is for tracking leads, I'll use the same value for each conversion. We will not focus so much on Google Ads because our focus is on Tag Manager. So I'll put a value as $1. And then for this, I will select 1, which means if someone signs up to the lead capture multiple times, they will be counted as 1. This makes sense. And then I'll leave the rest as it is and click done. Let's scroll down. We want to keep this on so that Google Ads can enhance your conversions. Click on agree and continue. The next step is for you to set up a conversion tag. There are multiple ways you can create this. By default, the Google Tag method is selected, but we want to use Google Tag Manager instead. What you need to take note of is this conversion ID, the conversion labels, and very importantly, you will need to create a conversion linker tag so that all pages on your site are connected between Google Ads and the Tag Manager. Technically, the linker tag improves the accuracy of your conversion tracking, so it is important to have this. If you are running multiple campaigns in Google Ads and you want to track them all, you only need to create this conversion linker tag once per container on your Google Tag Manager. So there are basically 2 steps to get the lead conversion tracking ready. The first is to set up the conversion linker tag if you have not created it before, and since you are starting from scratch, we will have to create it. And the second step is to create a tag that contains the conversion ID and labels so that you can track a lead conversion. So back to the Google Tag Manager, we first want to create the conversion linker tag. Click on add a new tag. Let's give this tag a name, say conversion linker. Maybe let's put Google Ads in front so that we know what this tag is for. And then to the tag configuration, we want to look for conversion linker. If you don't find this here, which shouldn't be the case, you can find a conversion linker in Google Ads and right here. It is the same thing. Let's select that. You don't need to worry about these other settings. And remember, every tag comes with a trigger. So let's set up a trigger by clicking on it. You want to select initialization all pages so that before all the page elements load, this conversion linker tag is already triggered and active. If you select page view, sometimes people click on your ad, but your page has not loaded and they click away, the tag may not be triggered. So it really depends on the goal of your tracking. For us, I will select this and you want to save it. Alright, our conversion linker tag is created, and if you click on tags, you can see the linker tag here. The next step is to create a tag to track the lead conversion. Remember the conversion ID and the labels we got from Google Ads? It's time to add them to Google Tag Manager. And since we are on a tags tab, let's click on this to create a new tag. Now it really depends on you, but for me, I want to name this tag the same as the conversion label from Google Ads. So I'll copy that and paste it here. And then let's configure the tag. Now we want to make a connection with Google Ads, so we'll select that. There are a couple couple of configurations as you can see here, but what we need is the conversion tracking. Now there are a couple of fields here, but we are only concerned with the conversion ID and the label. Now let's put the tabs side by side so I don't need to flip here and there. Let's copy the conversion ID from Google Ads and paste it in the tag manager. The same goes for the conversion label. Let's paste it here. Now before everything else, you want to make sure that this conversion action is active. So let's click done. And now your conversion action is created. Let's go back to Google Tag Manager. We don't have to worry about the rest of the settings, but what we need to do is to set up a trigger for the tag. Now again, how do we determine a successful conversion? Back to our lead capture page, whenever someone provides their information, click on this button, they will be led to the thank you page. So it makes sense to say, whenever someone views this thank you page, it is considered a conversion. So on the tag manager, we want to select page view, but we don't want this tag to be fired or active on all page view. So we need to create a custom trigger by clicking on this plus. Let's name this trigger lead thank you page, and then click on the trigger configuration, click on page view and some page views. And then over here, you can either add a page URL where you will copy this entire URL here, or you can select page path where you just need to copy the URL slug. So whenever a page path contains this URL slug, the tag will be triggered. Let's save this to save the trigger, and finally save this tag. And that's it. We have both the conversion linker and the lead conversion tracking tag created. Now it's time to test them. So let's click on preview. Now we want to copy the lead capture page URL and paste it here since we are testing the tag on that page, and click connect. So a new tab will be open, but let's hide it for now. As you can see, we are connected. Let's click continue. So as you can see here, the Google Ads conversion linker tag is fired. However, the lead conversion is not fired yet. Now what we want to do is to open up the preview tab. Let's close this up a little and just take notice of this tag when I have completed this form and became a lead. So let's fill up the information. Click on get started now, and as you can see, once the thank you page is seen, the lead conversion tracking tag is now fired, which means the lead is done properly. Now let's take a different approach to track form submissions. Instead of running ads, now let's track organic traffic to the form submissions. Now similarly, there are two tags to be created. One is to make the connection between Google Analytics and the tag manager, and the other is to add the form submission tracking. Let's start with the first. So now we are on the Google Tag Manager, and before we do anything, we need to go to variables, go to configure, and as you scroll down, if these form elements are not selected, you want to make sure to check them so that it is collecting the form data. Alright, now we are going to create a tag to connect Google Analytics with Google Tag Manager. Let's create a new tag. Let's name this maybe GA4 connection. You can name it whatever you like. This is just for reference. And then let's click on tag configuration. And now let's select Google Analytics. We want to create a Google tag so that the tag manager can send data to Google Analytics using a measurement ID. So this tag ID is where you place the measurement ID from Google Analytics. So let's go to Google Analytics, hover to the left menu, and right at the bottom, you want to click on the admin tab. And then under the data collection and modification, you want to select data streams. Open this up and you will see the measurement ID. Click on this to copy. Now back to the Google Tag Manager, you want to paste the measurement ID here. But instead of doing this, let's create a variable so that we can reuse the measurement ID to track other stuff. And we don't need to go back to Google Analytics to copy this and paste it on tags again. So to create a variable, click on this and then click on the plus sign. Let's name this variable as GA4 measurement ID. Click on variable configuration. Let's choose constant as the variable type. And right here, you want to paste the measurement ID and click save. And the next time you need the Google Analytics measurement ID, you just need to reuse this variable. Now, let's set a trigger to make this tag alive on the entire site so that tracking will start as soon as the browser connects with your server. Let's select initialization all pages and save tag. Alright. The connection between Google Analytics and Tag Manager is initiated. Now let's track the form event. So in this scenario, we will use a separate lead capture page. This is to sign up to our newsletter instead of free SEO lessons. And as you can see, if we submit the form, we will get a message instead of being redirected to a thank you page. So on a Google Tag Manager, let's create a new tag. Let's name this GA4 newsletter sign up. Again, you can name it however you like. Let's go to tag configuration and we will select Google Analytics. Now we will select the GA4 event, and over here, the measurement ID. Remember, we have created a variable, so we don't need to go back to Google Analytics and copy the measurement ID here. All we need to do is to click on this and you will see the measurement ID variable we have created. For the event name, we just put it as newsletter underscore sign up. The best practice in Google Analytics is to use underscore instead of dashes. And now you want to set up a trigger. Click on the plus at the top right. Let's name this trigger as form submission. Go to the configuration and over at the user engagement, you can trigger the tag when the form is submitted. Now I want to track the form on a specific page and we do not want to track all forms. So let's click on some forms. We need to figure out the form classes. So let's go to the page. On the form element, we want to right click and inspect. You want to hover to the layer where the form is. And over here, as you can see, there is this form class, KB Advanced Form. Let's copy that. Now yours might be different from mine. I'm using the Kadence form block. You might be using another form plugin where you will find a unique ID. For us, the Kadence form block does not have a unique ID, so we'll be using the form class instead. Let's go back to the Google Tag Manager. As you can see, if you have the form ID, you can simply track the specific form. But for us, it will be form classes and then equals. We want to paste the form class here. But obviously, this form class can appear on many different pages. But we only want to track this form that is embedded in this URL. So let's be more specific. Let's copy the page path and go to the Google Tag Manager. Let's add another trigger where the page path contains the path of the form page. So what this means is that when someone lands on this page and has submitted a form on the page, the tag will be triggered. Let's save this trigger and save this tag. Once these tags are done, we want to preview them. This time around, we want to connect with the other lead capture page. So we will paste the URL here and let's click connect. It will open up another window. But let's check it out. Let's click continue. The tags already fired are the Google Ads conversion linker, which is given, and the Google Analytics for connection. Now what we want to see when we have submitted the form, this tag will be fired. So let's test this out. Let's hit submit. And as you can see, the GA4 newsletter sign-up tag is fired. And that's not the end. If you want the information to be passed on to Google Analytics, you need to click on submit and publish to save all the changes to your tags. And once this is done, you want to copy the lead capture page URL. You can open up a new browser where you are not logged into the site, or you can just simply log out from your site, because depending on the Google Analytics settings, they may not capture your visit when you are logged in. Anyway, let's visit the page, fill up the form, hit submit, and let's check out Google Analytics. Go to reports, and under real time, as you scroll below, you will see that the newsletter sign-up tag has been fired. That's how we use Google Tag Manager together with Google Analytics. So in the first example, we have created tags to track conversions based on the thank you page load, while the second example is purely tracking the form submissions without the thank you page. And to be honest, either method works. It's just how you have created the form and how you have set up the triggers for the tags. Our recommendation is to redirect all form submissions to separate thank you pages so that you can track unique form submissions from there. Anyway, I hope you have a good understanding of how you can use the Google Tag Manager to track every single little detail about your site. There are so many things that you can track and can't be covered in a single video. So if you have anything you wish to track on your site, which I haven't covered, do let us know in the comments. And if there are a lot of common elements you guys and girls want to track, we might create another video for them. I believe a thumbs up is in order, and do subscribe to us for more SEO and AI knowledge. This is Jack from Rank Math. I'll see you in the next video.